Do you need a gem or small detail piece for your next cosplay or costume? Want it to be cheap and simple? Then this is the tutorial for you. You too can make all these pretties with just your trusty hot glue gun. What you'll need: hot glue gun, hot glue sticks, silicone molds, scissors, optional sandpaper, gloss finishing spray, and either paint and a paintbrush, or spray primer and spray paint. Let's begin. Firstly, your glue gun. This doesn't have to be a fancy glue gun. The cheapest glue gun will work absolutely fine. And as for those glue sticks, yeah, it's the same deal. Plug in your hot glue gun and wait for it to heat up. In the meantime, make sure your silicone molds are free from any dust, glitter, dog hair, others' expectations. You know what I mean. I'm just doing this with my fingers here, but you can also use a cloth if you would prefer. With your mold all clean, make sure your hot glue gun is fully heated up. It should be as hot as it can possibly go. With the glue at the right temperature, go ahead and fill in the mold with the glue. It is at this point it is important for it to be as hot as possible, as it will melt into the mold and reduce the chance of the dreaded air bubbles. Fill the glue to the top of the mold. Finally, give it a little tap on the desk to help the glue shift down and to fill any empty spaces there may be. Wait a couple of minutes until the hot glue has fully set. Then it's time to demold the cast. To do this, pull on the silicone mold slightly to loosen. Try to avoid pushing it straight out, just in case the bottom isn't completely set hard yet, as this may cause an indentation. Once everything has been demolded, you may notice that there is some excess glue over the lip of the mold. Use some scissors to cut this away if it's there. These work best on straight edges. For rounded edges, use sandpaper if you have it to get that smoother finish. And with that, your base mold is complete. Wasn't that simple and easy? Next, it is adding colour. Let's go through two different ways. The first is using spray paint. I'll be using a metallic paint, perfect for those armour and jewellery details. What you are not going to do is spray the paint directly onto the hot glue cast. The paint has nothing to hold onto when you use the force of compressed air, so it kind of just slips around. What you need to do first is use some primer, similar to what you would use on foam. For me, it is this one that I buy at my local super cheap auto store, but Plasti Dip or something like that would also work. For these, I only did one coat of spray primer, but for a super smooth result, I recommend two. Just make sure the first coat is fully dry before you start doing the second one. Once the primer is fully dry, go ahead and spray your paint on. Wait for it to dry and then do a second coat. Make sure you're getting all the different edges, curves and sides. This is where I find using a baking cooling tray helpful, as it lets you get to all the different angles and reduces the area where the paint might stick the cast to whatever it's resting on. The second option for colouring is the good old acrylic paints. These you can paint directly onto the cast because the paint is a bit thicker and it isn't being shot at with compressed air. However, if you want that extra smoothness, the primer before this step is recommended. Depending on your paint, you may need to do 2 to 3 coats. In this case, I just did 2, and you can see that my magenta heart turned out a bit streaky. The other thing worth noting is don't be afraid to add some other painting details or techniques. Use a marbling technique to give the appearance of jade or marble, or do a gradient paint job like I have done with the shell. For this purple gem, it has some very sharp and clean lines, so I edged these with a fine line of white to help show that shape off. For the shell, I also added top coat of fine blue glitter paint to add some of that mermaid sparkle. In short, go nuts, experiment and have fun. No matter which way you decide to colour your casts, the last step is the same. Spray those casts with some gloss finishing spray to seal all that colour in and to give it a gem or metallic feel. And there you have it! Now you can create all the gems or small detail pieces out of hot glue for your next cosplay or costume. Here is an example of some I made for my Toff cosplay. All in all, this is a super simple and quick way for you to elevate your outfit or prop without breaking the bank. I hope that this tutorial has helped, and if it has, please make sure you share it with your mates. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video, it really helps me out. Maybe even check out my playlist of other tutorials. Happy crafting!